Now what I want to show you is how to use another application we call Banner. And we use Banner to give overrides to all the students who sign up for honors classes to make sure that when they go in to register, the class isn't going to show up as closed. So the way that we do that is by Banner. And to find Banner, the easiest way is to go to www.kennesaw.edu, the main page, and hover over faculty and staff, and then drop down to Banner. And I've already opened Banner because it takes a while to load. It's going to open in two separate windows. The first window will probably be blank. It may have something like please do not close this window. So that's the first window, and the other window is the pop-out. And that's the window you actually need. You're going to be asked to log on with your net ID and then a password that is different than the net ID password. They ask you for another one when you first get access to Banner, so you will use that password. It does expire on occasion, so they will ask you to update and change it frequently. So once you get into Banner, this is kind of what it looks like. And there's lots of things that people use Banner for. Our usage is pretty limited. We only really do one thing in Banner, and that is grant overrides. So to grant an override, you go to the bar and you type in a code, and the code is SFASRPO, and click enter. Once you do that, you'll be asked for the student's ID. I've already used mine just as an example. So you have to make sure that you put in the 000 first or it will not work. And then select the correct term. It probably won't be set to the right term, so you have to make sure that you set it to the one that you want. I'm going to use spring semester 2012. And right now, I put in 2 overrides as an example. If I were to have a schedule already set up, it would show up down here and show you all of my current classes. And right now, I'm actually going to delete these so we can start over. So when you're going to override a student for a class, there are a couple different codes you may need to use. The first code is closed, C-L-O-S-E-D, and hit the tab button. And it will come up override closed class, which is exactly what you need because all the honors classes are going to show up as closed. It's then going to prompt you for the CRN, and I'm going to use 11565, which is our honor psychology class. And you can see that comes up automatically when you type in the CRN. So you might be okay to just use this code, but we had a problem about 2 semesters ago with just using the closed code. We also decided to use our department code, which is DEPT. And this was just to be on the safe side because we weren't sure if we always needed it, but because we did at least once or twice, we didn't feel like having to go back and re-enter them all later. So we just did it up in the beginning, and it doesn't take very long to do the other code. So you're going to use closed first and then DEPT and hit the tab button again, and now it's giving you a department override as well, and type in the exact same code, 11565, and it comes up automatically. So those are the 2 main codes you're going to do for almost every single student who needs an honors section. There's a couple things to keep in mind here. If a student asks you if you can override them into something that is not an honors class, and they will ask you this all the time, you need to tell them up front, no, you cannot. You are only allowed to override students into honors classes. So if they ask you to override an English class that is not honors and it's full, if they ask you to override one of their upper level anthropology classes, the answer must always be no. If you do override one of those classes, the department will probably be really upset with you and you could possibly lose your privileges. So make sure that you don't do anything like that, just to be on the safe side. The final code that I've used on occasion is a prerequisite override, and we use this on occasion. In particular, I think we use it for IDS 3000, and we use it to override Math 1107. So if that's the case and you need to use that code, you type in PRE for pre and then REQ, REQ, and hit the tab button, and now it's giving you a prerequisite override as well. Psych doesn't need a prerequisite override, but just in case, you could put it in. And like I said, usually I reserve this just for IDS and overriding the math course and maybe a few others if they come up. So those are all the codes you're going to use, and when you're done with it, you simply click Save. And when you want to do another student, instead of hitting the X, you hit this button here, which is Roll Back. And as you can see, it starts you all over again. Now, what if you want to delete something because you made a mistake? Well, you can't just hit the delete button because all that does is get rid of the code. So what you really need to do is click on the one that you want to delete, go up to Record, and hit Remove, and that will delete them. And that's all we ever do in Banner. So when you're totally done, make sure you've saved, and then hit the X. And that will take you back to the main screen.